All right. So thank you for participating in my study. So this study is to just to see how rural schools, might prepare for an increase in English learner students at the school. And so to give you some background knowledge in some of the legal obligations that schools have to their English learners, I've prepared this short video. So first, the Department of Education in 2015 created a document called the Dear Colleague Letter that explains all of the legal obligations that schools have to ELs. It can be summarized in this quote that schools are required to take affirmative steps to ensure that students with limited English proficiency, or LEP, can meaningfully participate in their educational programs and services. To help schools meet those legal obligations, they created the English Learner Toolkit. And so if you Google English Learner Toolkit, you'll find this resource. The link for it is also below here at the bottom of the screen. So the English Learner Toolkit is simply a resource that helps schools fulfill their legal obligations to ELs, and it contains overviews of different topics, sample tools that schools can use, and then more resources that can help schools fulfill their obligations. So, Chapter 1 deals with identifying all EL students. So, all EL students must be identified within 30 days of their enrollment at a school. And so, one way that schools can do this is through the Home Language Survey, which just asks questions about which languages students use in their home. And from this, potential ELs can be identified, and then they can be given an English language proficiency assessment to determine whether they qualify for language assistance or not. So a school needs to inform parents of their uh, English language proficiency level, and then the program options that are available to their students. So when they inform parents, they need to inform parents that that their participation has nothing to do with their legal status, and that they won't be reported to local, state, or federal agencies for immigration issues. Also, the schools need to communicate in the parents' home language so that they can make an informed decision. Parents do have the option to decline any language assistance services provided by the schools. Chapter 2 deals with the tools and resources schools have for providing ELs with a language assistance program. So there are many different types of language assistance services and programs that schools can offer. And the federal government does not require the schools use a particular one. What they do require is that the whatever service or programs schools choose to use be educationally sound and effective. And by educationally sound and effective, these programs need to enable ELs to become proficient in English. And they also need to enable English learners to participate equally with peers in general education classes. So the goal is that they want ELs to be involved in general education classes, just like any of their regular class peers. And so then the program needs to be able to help ELs become proficient in English in a reasonable amount of time. It does not say exactly how long, but it should be less than 5 years. In addition to offering language assistance services, schools are required to offer special education services to any ELs that are identified as having a learning disability, just like they would to a regular um, content uh, student or student without uh, English proficiency limitation, or aren't limited in their English proficiency. Um, Chapter 3 deals with tools and resources um, for staffing and supporting an EL program. So, schools are required to hire qualified faculty and staff for their EL program, but they also have to train both the general and special education teachers to be able to support the ELs that are in their classrooms. So this can be done through certification, or it can also be done through professional development. So topics for professional development include oral language development and how teachers can help improve EL's oral language development, in explicitly teaching academic English to ELs so that they can become academically successful in class. And then the value of cultural diversity, the what culturally and linguistically diverse students bring um, are a lot of wonderful things. They're assets to your classrooms, and they're not liabilities. And so teachers need to understand that they are assets, and they bring a wealth of knowledge to the classroom. Train administrators also need to be trained so that they know how to evaluate the EL program's effectiveness. And then finally, schools need to provide resources, uh, including all materials, so that the EL program can be effectively implemented. Chapter 8 deals with the tools and resources for monitoring and exiting ELs from the EL program and services. So, all English learners need to be monitored, whether they're in the EL program or whether they've opted out. Their progress needs to be monitored. So, this includes an annual English language proficiency assessment in the areas of listening, reading, speaking, and writing, and then also an annual assessment of their content knowledge. So, to see that they're making, to ensure their academic progress is continuing at the same pace as their peers. So once an English learner becomes proficient, then they exit the EL program, and then all language assistance services stop, and the EL just participates in general education classes just like his peers. Um, After 2 years, for additional 2 years after exiting the program, English learners are monitored. Their academic progress is monitored to ensure that they are able to continue and succeed academically without language assistance. If it is determined that they need more language assistance, then they can re-enter the program, but documentation has to be done for that. Um, so, monitoring progress is important to alleviate civil rights concerns. So, if a English learner is exited out of the program too quickly, then they are being denied language assistance that they may still need. If they are kept in the program too long, they may be withheld from other general education opportunities. And so, it's very important to monitor the progress to make sure that they are leaving the program at the time that they're supposed to. Finally, Chapter 10 deals with tools and resources for ensuring meaningful communication with limited English proficient parents. So, all school related information needs to be communicated to parents so that parents can make informed decisions. So if an information about the EL program, if a uh, English learner has an IEP, about when those meetings are, report cards, any school activities English learners may be able to participate in, um, and et cetera, et cetera, so that parents can feel like they are a part of the school community. When communicating with LEP families, the communication must be in a language that the LEP family member can understand. So the school needs to determine whether they're able to communicate in English or if they need to communicate in another language. If uh, an LEP family requires language assistance, then the school must use a qualified interpreter. So, a qualified interpreter is not someone who is bilingual. A qualified interpreter is someone who has been certified and has taken classes on interpreting and knows vocabulary in relation to the conversations that need to occur, the communication that needs to occur, and about the ethics of interpreting. Um, if there is no one that is qualified at the school, then the school can use a translation service that the state provides. So, and in addition to that, schools need to embrace the cultural diversity of LEP families. This will help create inclusion and make families feel welcome and a part of the school community. So again, thank you for your participation in this study. I hope this helps give you a very um, kind of a brief idea of what are some of the legal requirements for schools in regards to English learners as you fill out participate in the study. If you have any questions at any time, please contact me, and I would love to answer any questions. Again, thank you for your participation.